Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of What Ted Says, where it's always time to get a fatter wallet and a bigger net worth. Bigger net worth. You know what I'm talking about? How do you do that? You got to save some money. You got to save some money at your wallet. And you know, winter is in full swing right now as I tape this video. And maybe you've noticed your electricity bills, they're going through the roof. Why is that? Well, it's time for you to start thinking about not only how you can stay warm, but it's important to think about how you don't break the bank. A lot of people that are wealthy, actually, people think they spend frivolously. It's not true at all. A lot of people that are wealthy end up being cheap or frugal, and they think about how they can save money. So what I tried to do in here, because there's a whole number of ways that you can do this, is to give you five hacks on ways that you may be able to save money, make your wallet fatter and get a bigger net worth, and of course, keep your house nice and toasty during the holiday season. And that's going to be important to you. So let's just start off with what I think most people should be doing if you haven't done it already, which is getting smart thermostats. At the Jenkins household, we moved to the Nest system years ago, but you aren't smarter than your thermostat. And think about when you go to a hotel or somewhere else and you can't figure out half the time, is it on warm or cool or high or low fans, or how does everything work? But these devices can actually have algorithms to look at your habits, and you can actually program them if you know what your habits are going to be to adjust temperature accordingly. On the Nest, for example, I can go to economy, but I could also tell my thermostat that I want to keep it at 68 degrees when I'm out of the house, and these are the hours I'm going to be out of the house. When I'm in the house, maybe I dial it up to 70 degrees. But I think in general, if you can keep that thermostat at 68, and when you're out of the house, or basically it's not at the peak hours where you really need the heat, that's going to be able to help you save somewhere between 10 to 11% on your bills. These thermostats are not that expensive today. When you look at the cost of a general thermostat, something like a Nest are around $80, depending upon the size of your house. They generally sync into an app, although Google is going away from Nest, or sort of detaching themselves, but it definitely pays off in the long run when you look at your bills. And you ought to spend some time thinking about how the programming works, or again, you can have it run on economy, but also depending upon your state, you've got some utility companies that are out there that may actually offer you a rebate. So when you put in some of these energy efficient items today, there are tax credits that may range up to $1,200 a year, and you may qualify for those tax credits. So number one, get the smart thermostat. Try to keep it at 68. That's going to be a baseline to hopefully save you 10% on your heating bills. The next thing in here should be simple, but it often is not, and that's getting draft stoppers for both doors and windows. And if you think about it, in your house, you've got the door, and often you'd be sitting on the other side of the room, and like you notice a crack in the bottom of your door where the weather stripping is, and it's like, wow, bugs can get through there. Well, so can wind, and so can the cold. They can get through there. Or if you've got windows that aren't as effective, but these simple devices go underneath the doors, or they can go along the windows. And if you're not willing to spend money on getting all the weather stripping in place, or putting in brand new weather stripping, which could qualify, by the way, underneath some of these tax credits right now, this is going to be your best way to have that cold air not sneak into your house. You can find them in any of the hardware stores, Home Depot, Lowe's, Ace, or even a local hardware store. They come in all different kinds of fabric and even stylish options for those of you that want to be stylish with your draft stoppers. But they keep the warmth in, and they also keep the cold air out, and that in the end is going to help you make your heating system work more efficiently and more effectively. So that would be number two, and I would try to do that now if you can before we get into the dead of the winter. 3 is getting to LED bulbs. Now I know there's a whole debate about this, because some people just literally don't like the look and the feel of LED bulbs, but quite frankly, the LED bulbs are really a way to basically save a lot of money that come into your pocket. Not only in general are they more energy efficient, but they also produce less heat than traditional incandescent bulbs. And that's going to be important, you know, and so when people look at this, do I think you can save somewhere between 5 to 8% on your bills when it comes to LED bulbs? I absolutely do, because not only are you saving on your lighting bills, but you're also ultimately saving on your heating bills. So you've got kind of a dual process or a dual purpose in there when you install the LED bulbs. Now, the truth is they do cost a bit more upfront, but a lot like thinking about whether you install solar panels, you've got to look at your break even. When I looked at solar panels, I looked at a Tesla roof, it just didn't make a lot of sense for me because I didn't see myself living in the home for the next 20 years. But on LED bulbs, your break even is generally not going to be 20 years. It's going to be a much smaller time. It's going to be a bigger win-win. And you can obviously always look for them when they're on sale. They often will go on sale at any of the major hardware stores. Now, I'm going to give you one that will be interesting. You remember some of you when you were a kid, I know some of you don't play the vinyl anymore, even though vinyls come back into it, that people said that if you would actually play the vinyl in reverse, it would sound like the devil. That's not true. It doesn't sound like the devil. Some people still think that with records. But have you ever thought about putting your ceiling fan on reverse? Did you ever even realize that your ceiling fan could go in reverse? It is often way overlooked as a hack, and it costs you absolutely nothing. So remember, your ceiling fan generally runs clockwise during the summer to pull the warm air up and keep you cool during the summertime. That's why people run the fans. And it can also be helpful in winter by running them counterclockwise. That's right. So fans, if you think about it, normally go clockwise. You can run those fans counterclockwise, and they would be doing exactly the opposite, because here what they're doing is they're circulating the air, and it will help push the warm air as opposed to going up. It will help push the warm air down, and you'll be able to feel it. So putting in ceiling fans in general can be really smart. It will help with those cooling bills when you get into the summertime. But also those ceiling fans, again, nobody runs them in counterclockwise. It's like such a great hack. You could be able to get your heating bills to go down. And then hack 5, bake some treats. Yes, I do want you to put marijuana in those treats. No, I don't want you to put marijuana in the treats. But listen, you need a great get warm idea. Crank up the oven, baby. You know, it's one of the greatest feelings at home when somebody is baking and they crank up the oven and you get your hands out there. It feels all good. You're in front of the oven. But when you're finished baking, and actually if you leave the oven door open while it's cooling down, it's still heat, and think about it, money that you've actually spent already, and that will project some extra heat into the kitchen area. Obviously, it doesn't heat up the whole house. You want to ensure that the oven is turned off when the door is cracked open, but it will ultimately warm the kitchen quickly and inexpensively. But it isn't like any type of long-term play to be able to keep your house warm during the winter. And certainly if you have small kids, think about keeping them away from the oven, because we don't want anybody to get burnt. Your pets, no, don't put them near there either. It's probably not going to be good for them. So use these 5 hacks in general. Obviously, if you've got wood in your backyard and you can chop some wood yourself so you don't spend money on firewood, and you can make a fire going in your house, that is one of the greatest ways to heat it for free. And there are people that have those pellet stoves as well, can be extremely good. But all these things can basically save you money during the winter. They can put some additional dollars in your pocket. And if all your heating bills cost you $2,000 during the year, and you can get an extra $200 to $300 back in your pocket, it all adds up. That money dropped into a Roth IRA as opposed into the heating company are all ways to help get you to retirement quicker. Don't forget, as always, to give me a like if you like this video. Put your comments about the biggest hack that you have into the video. And that's this episode of What Ted Says.